Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Dion's Daily Dose Coffee Break. Here with my buddy Jim, who actually just got back a few days ago from a trip to Missouri, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how'd your trip go?
I mean, the trip was good. Branson's nice, expensive, but nice.
I have heard that it is very, very expensive for anything and everything in Branson.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The short version is
Yeah.
Outside Branson, everything's cheap.
Okay. So like the whole rest of Missouri, everything's far less expensive.
Yeah.
I'm checking something. Let's see. We talked earlier about the sales tax, right?
Yeah.
I want to see here what the tax rate is. Okay, so according to this, the minimum combined 2024 sales tax rate for Branson, Missouri is 10.36%.
Mm-hmm.
Total of state, county, and city sales tax rates. Missouri sales tax rate 4.23%. Branson tax rate is 2.0%. So everything together, you're paying almost 11% more for anything and everything you buy.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, you thought it was like 14%.
It gets pretty.
Yeah. Plus, by the time you add like hotel costs and because they always have these incidental charges on everything.
Yeah. I didn't have to worry about that because we got together and got a VRBO.
Okay.
Fucking.
Is that that's like Airbnb? Right?
That's a lot like Airbnb. Yeah.
Okay. It's like a like a timeshare from back. Remember when our parents and grandparents used to get?
They still do that.
Yeah, but not as much. I mean, it's not as popuar as it was. I remember. There's a
Yeah.
lot of lawsuits now that people
have
want to get out of.
People have gotten hip to the timeshare thing.
Yeah.
They still do the thing. Free 3-day trip to Puerto Vallarta or wherever the hell, Orlando, Florida. All you gotta do is sit through this 90-minute lecture.
Right. Yeah, they're still trying to hand those out, and I guess people still go to them.
But a lot of people have gotten hip to that. But the VRBO was just absolutely amazing. It was like damn near stately Wayne Manor.
Yeah, it was nice, man. I saw some pictures of it. It was very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Huge place, man.
Yeah, it was.
Got a bunch of bikers acting goofy up in there, and still had space. So that says a lot.
There's that.
Yeah, but overall, good trip, right?
Yeah, overall a good trip. Would have been better if my leg was good enough to ride down there.
That I can imagine that would be extremely frustrating to see everybody else on
although
bikes.
There were times where I was like glad to not be on a bike because of the traffic. Got ran off the road by a semi.
Yeah, you mentioned that. And actually it's funny because I think it was Donovan, my son, who said to me the other day, he's like, one of the things I really appreciate about you is even though you're an ex-truck driver, a lot of people like ex-truckers will defend truckers, no matter what. And I found that just in general, dude, the overall quality of today's drivers has seemed to really take a nosedive.
Oh yeah. Hell, we like aside from the almost dying to a semi,
right?
We were sitting at a gas station, fueling up, getting snacks and whatnot. Just the people who rode were stretching their legs and stuff like that. And there was a semi just in the side road.
Okay.
Just sitting there, and there was a cop next to him just screaming at him about,
was he on the wrong road?
Well, he was just like, you're blocking the entire fucking road. What are you doing? Just fucking screaming at this guy. And it wasn't like a Bosnian dude or any of those, other,
right. Non-English.
Non-English speaking drivers that you see so much of these days. It was, old timer, white beard, man who obviously knows his way around a cab over,
right.
And so he's like screaming, and then the dude pulls into the gas station, like does this tight ass fucking turn trying to miss the pumps to turn around to get back on the main road while the cop's just sitting there looking, going,
right. It's wild to me. Like, and I watch a few different, like, YouTube channels, truck driving related, bonehead truckers. Some of the stuff that I've seen them do, I mean, aside from the whole, flip flops and all of that crap, just some of the sheer idiocy that I've seen from drivers is like, how can you possibly think that was a good idea?
Yeah, some of this stuff is just beyond the pale.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. And that is one of the reasons why I never became a truck driver. I signed up for the school.
Yeah.
I went there for a couple of days, and I'm like, I'm in this giant machine of death. If I like screw up for a split second, like people die.
Oh yeah. There's a lot more. Like, there's a lot more gravity to it. Like, if you take it seriously, there's a lot more gravity to it, because when you're in like an SUV, even, right? Yeah, you can inflict some damage if you screw up.
Right.
But an 80,000 pound death machine will go through multiple buildings.
Yeah. Like, and they don't turn well.
No.
They don't stop well.
No.
I mean, like,
yeah, they are. And it's good though that you recognize that. It's good that you appreciated the gravity of the situation.
Oh yeah,
but not.
I mean, it gave
me
me a full-on anxiety attack.
Well,
I'm like,
we obviously didn't want that, but
plus I'm in this giant steel box,
right,
alone, all day, every day. Like, yeah, I would probably like kill a bunch of people just.
Yeah, accidentally.
Being in my own head.
Right.
Just like,
oh God,
I'm so alone. I'm so alone. This is all life is. I just can't fuck it.
yeah. So maybe it's a good thing. You did not complete training. No. I have seen, because I was a trainer for Werner, you know that. And dude, I had everybody from lawyers who like weren't making money doing law stuff anymore.
Yeah. And
wanted to, strike out on their own. And that one was interesting. I remember that guy very, very clearly. I've told you some of the stories about him. But he was like one end of the spectrum, because we went to his house. I mean, he had lived in a big, beautiful house and all of this. But he decided to become a trucker. Now, obviously, this is years and years ago, but everything from him to the kid fresh out of school, like there's this entire spectrum of people. I've noticed now it's less of a broad spectrum, and it seems to be getting more narrow. But on the subject of trucking and just transportation in general, you heard about the longshoreman strike.
I've heard of it, yes.
Okay.
That should be interesting.
So I know the last time there was a strike, it affected your work. I know you're still, recovering from your injury, but I'm sure you talk to people who are still at work. Is it going to affect you guys?
I'm not sure. I've not heard anything yet.
Okay.
I'm sure it will, because, being a multinational corporation, the good news is we get a lot of stuff from Mexico, so that stuff is trucked in.
Okay. So,
however, we do get things from Korea, India, other places like that.
Right.
And a lot of it comes by boat.
Right.
And so I'm sure that'll take a hit.
It does. Now, it doesn't affect us here, my understanding. Here in Northwest Indiana, we have the Port of Indiana right here. My understanding is they're not part of the same union, so they're not striking. So it doesn't affect Port of Indiana.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
it's primarily East Coast and then down to Texas is my understanding of the situation.
I'm sure what the big boss of our particular plant would say is, we're monitoring the situation.
Right.
Yeah.
That's their.
We hear that a lot. We're monitoring, and it's true.
It's
true.
Like, what can you really say?
I can talk 10 miles of shit about the plant manager where I work, but as a business unit, they have to watch these things.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they have people they have to answer to, and
Mm-hmm.
so on and so on. So they do monitor all that stuff. So I'm not gonna throw no shade on that.
So based on the analysis that I've heard from a number of talking heads about the subject, it's going to affect, like, stores have been preparing for this for a while. They have various distribution centers where they've set up in order to weather the storm the best that they can.
Right.
But I did see a news clip where it was a garbage pickup guy. It wasn't like a trucker trying to, haul in goods or haul out goods. It was the trash guy. And they smashed his windshield and hit him in the face. Did you see that?
No, I did not. But I'm not surprised.
Right. And it's the guy who's been coming to the place for.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Yeah. Because my opinion about unions in general.
Yeah.
Let
the viewers know.
I mean, they're a dinosaur. Once upon a time, they were probably essential.
Okay, what's to play devil's advocate for a moment, right? The 5-day work week, you can thank unions for.
Actually, no.
Okay.
Actually, no, that is not true at all. You can thank Henry Ford for the 5-day work week.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Henry Ford discovered that if my employees are at work, they can't buy a car because they're at work.
Right.
So he gave them days off so they could spend the money they were making at
the factory.
At the factory.
Yeah.
So that was Henry Ford, the 5-day work week, the assembly line. A lot of
the assembly line. Yes, Henry Ford.
A lot of that is Henry Ford's brainchild. So as far as like the union, no, that's not true.
Okay. What about like maternity leave and
now some
40-hour
work weeks? Some of that stuff, like overtime.
Yeah.
Money for overtime.
Right.
Things like that. Back in the day, the unions protected the employees from predatory corporate practices. Yeah. But nowadays we have so many laws to that effect.
Yeah.
In my opinion, unions hurt employees.
Okay.
By and large, not in every case, but sometimes, a lot of times.
We're going to get some fury-filled comments on this one.
Fucking let them. Fucking let them. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're not the one who answers these fucking people. No,
yeah.
Just kidding.
I've been in unions.
Yeah.
I've worked at union shops.
Right. You have. And that's important for people to understand.
Yeah. It's not like I'm not, coming from, I'm coming from a place where like I've never dealt with a union. I have.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm not going to sit here and like.
Yeah. Pretend everything about a union is bad.
Right.
Right.
Fucking steel workers. My old age brother worked at the steel mill. Mm-hmm. He passed away. Mm-hmm. The steel workers union was amazing during that time.
Were they?
Yes.
Okay.
They would call, asked how she was doing, helped her through the process of, getting his affairs in order. Right. They stepped up.
And listen, guys, I'm going to tell you, when someone passes, if you guys like only watch Coffee Break, you guys may not know, but my mother-in-law passed a short time ago, actually, while I was in Springfield. And there's a lot to do when someone passes away, as far as getting their affairs in order and tying up, turning stuff off. Like if they have recurring subscriptions.
So many hoops to jump through.
Many.
Is like the absolute worst time to have to deal with that stuff.
It really is. Yeah. Like you have, obviously the crushing weight of despair from losing a loved one.
You've got all your emotional stuff going on. You're trying to deal with that in your own head. Oh, and by the way, we got to get you've got to take care of all this stuff. Mm-hmm. It's horrible.
Yeah, it is. But you say the USW was really good during that period.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Steel workers, as far as that goes, they were amazing.
Okay.
they are not without their faults.
Of course.
I've
talked about that.
I've not been in the Steelworkers Union,
Right.
but I worked at the steel mill as a contractor.
Okay.
And so I've seen and heard from the union people,
Right. The members themselves.
How some of that stuff operated.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of weird.
I will say the vast majority of the complaints that I hear from people who are in the union currently and who swear by the union, by the way, the biggest complaint are the political arm of the unions and like the way that they operate, what they do, how they do it. There was a big to do in 2016, 2020, and even now with the members of the union saying, hey, we want to endorse so-and-so, or we want to back so-and-so, and the leadership saying, no, we're going to back someone else.
Yeah.
And that's still
who's doing that now? Is it the auto workers?
Yeah, the auto workers.
They're just like, we're not going to endorse anybody.
Yep.
Because
they decided not to endorse anyone.
Yeah, because the members
wanted
to endorse
Trump.
A member.
Yeah, they wanted to endorse a certain individual.
Yeah,
and the leadership
did not. So they're like, well, we're not going to endorse anybody.
Yeah, we just won't endorse anyone.
Well,
which tells you
that's an interesting compromise there.
Right, which tells you the leadership does not represent the interests of the members.
No, and they haven't for a long time.
Right, because if they
for a
did,
long
they
time.
would simply endorse who the members want.
The unions were notorious through the years of corruption.
Yeah.
Especially with organized crime, that's become they become synonymous, honestly.
Speaking of, and this kind of ties together, right? Have you ever seen The Wire on HBO?
I have not.
Okay. So in season, I think it's 3, I'm not sure, but it deals with the longshoremen on the East Coast. I think Baltimore, actually. Yeah. Where they didn't want to be replaced by automation.
Right.
And they went on strike. And this is the exact thing that's happening here for the same reason, because that's one of their demands is no automation. And I think like $5 more per hour. Now, I don't know the financials of the companies that we're dealing with here. I don't know any of that. I am no economist.
Right.
But what I do know is these companies are making significant profits.
Well, yeah.
So what's the problem here? I don't know. Like I said, it's not up to me. But
yeah, like I said, I was a Teamster.
There you go. Okay.
I was Teamster for almost 3 years. In that time, I have not seen the Teamsters do anything good.
Fair.
Other than, and this isn't a good thing in my opinion, but, protecting lazy, worthless people.
I mean, you're not wrong.
They had somebody, he was sleeping on the job, slept all night through the job, overnight shift, sleeping, manager caught him.
Okay.
So they fired him.
Yeah.
Because that's that.
Yeah.
So they were in, arbitration and whatnot for months, and then concluded that, well, the boss didn't have a witness, even though the guy admitted to sleeping. But since the manager
wasn't on camera and
because the manager didn't have another person with him to back his story up,
right?
It didn't matter that the dude admitted to sleeping,
right?
So 3 months later, the guy not only gets his job back, gets all of his back pay, and they can't touch him because that's retaliation.
That's garbage. That's absolute garbage.
It is garbage. We got to contract negotiations.
Okay.
And at the time, everybody was talking about, we're going on strike. They can't do nothing. We hold all the cards. They can't function without us. All the people are saying that, and the whole time I'm going, man, I can't really afford to go on strike. Right. I really need the money. We get into the union hall. They present the contract. They said, here's the contract. It's the first one. It's the last one. This is their only offer. Vote on it.
Okay.
And we're looking at the contract, and not only did we not get anything out of it,
Uh-huh.
they took things away.
It's even worse than it was before.
Yeah, it was worse than it was before. The union representative says this is the only contract. You can either take it or you can strike. I stood up in the union hall and I said strike.
Yeah.
And he went, no, you can't say that. This is a secret vote. I said, I don't give a fuck. I'm telling every single person in this room right now,
Yeah.
strike.
Yeah.
And we voted, secret vote, and it passed. 2 against. Well, I know for certain who one of them was.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I knew who the other one was.
Yeah.
So we got bent over. They fucking bent over, looked over, licked their lips, called the company daddy.
Mm-hmm.
I stood outside the union halls. Everybody was walking out. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a bitch. You're a bitch.
Right.
These are all the same people that were, we're going on strike. They wouldn't last a week without us. And they're all sitting there with their heads hung.
Yeah,
and they couldn't even fucking say anything back to me.
No. What are they going to say?
You know, one guy looked at me like he was going to, I'm like, go ahead. And he hung his head and went to his car.
Yep.
Fucking silent and sullen.
Yeah. And it's another symptom of another condition, which is we've become placid, dude. Like all of us. You know, not all. There are still those hardcore among us.
No, you mean flaccid.
Well, yeah. But in general, we've become accepting of this kind of shit. And
I got those same guys that were all up in arms were like, man, I can't really afford to. I really need the money. I'm like, I need the money too.
Yeah. We all do.
I mean, there comes a point where,
and I'm going to say this, dude, like, I don't know about every union, right? I want to be clear on that. But the union stuff that I've seen, because I have family who are union, proud union, the strike pay is a joke. Now, I don't know if that was the case with the Teamsters, but
it was at the time, it was $100 a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was $100 a week, which was like a quarter of my pay.
Right.
But I mean, at the same time,
right.
you're getting paid $100 a week to just stand around.
Right.
I mean, what can you really expect? There's a fund, and that fund only has so much money. So, you know, you've got simple economics.
Right.
You know, especially when you don't know how long this thing's going to stretch out. You got to ration that money out.
Right.
Because when that runs out, well, you know, the fucking union leadership's not going to dig into their fucking pockets.
Of course not. Of course not.
I mean, you look at all that stuff, all the fucking union leadership. You know, they're getting dinged because, you know, like, they went on trips on fucking union money, fucking houses on union money, cars on union money,
right?
You know, fucking hookers on union money, fucking. I'm sure there's some fucking coke in there somewhere.
Of course there is. There usually is.
But it's just silly at this point. You know, you've got unions. I worked briefly, I worked at a distributing center for groceries.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You know, where you would fucking pick the orders, put them on a pallet, and they go on the truck and then go to the grocery stores.
Right.
Their union. So you're picking groceries and putting them on a truck.
Right.
So why are they through a aerospace union?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. That was weird, dude. Like, what's the connection there?
There is none.
There is none, right?
There is none. It's just another fucking union that rolls into a fucking place and goes, hey, you know what? They're not treating you too good.
Right.
Why don't you
pay us and we'll help you?
Yeah, just give us a little bit of money. And back to when I was a Teamster.
Yeah.
Our fucking union steward was like 70-some years old. You know, fucking didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, literally didn't do anything. Didn't have to pay union dues because he's a union steward. It's the only reason he was a union steward.
Yeah.
You know, he would like take grievances and like sit them on a desk and go, I don't know what to tell you. We actually changed union representatives at one point.
Okay.
The new union representative said, dude, I walked in and he was the only one that I never even saw the previous one.
Okay.
Never showed up.
Mm.
This guy actually showed up like once a month.
Woo.
You know, and like, you know, fucking shook hands and
Right,
like, hey, how's it going? Like he cared.
Right. At least acted like he cared.
Yeah, he went through the motions.
Right.
I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I respect the pretense.
Okay.
But he sat there and he told me, he's like, yeah, when I fucking stepped into this position, I go to my desk, there's a stack of grievances this fucking high. Never even looked at. Got a coat of dust on them.
Dude. That's wild. But that's chronic. I mean, that's the problem. For many of these guys, it's just become, for lack of a better term, a way to game the system,
Mm-hmm.
right? They become the union steward. Then they can just collect their paycheck, not have to pay dues. And
right.
Yeah.
We didn't even have insurance in the traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
We had a union medical fund.
Okay.
That we paid into.
Okay.
Which, unlike insurance, where, you know, you pay your shit and, you know, they pay out whatever.
Yeah.
This is just a pool of money that they draw from.
Okay.
That everybody pays the same amount
Mm-hmm.
into it to feed the fund.
Right.
But, and I'm not saying anything against anybody who's got a serious medical condition or
Right.
their significant other has a medical condition or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact remains that, you know, we had a material handler whose wife had a lot of chronic problems.
Right. Who was chronically ill.
Yeah. And so she had a lot of medical expenses.
Right.
So
they're
the
steady
fund,
depleting
yeah,
the
they're
fund.
depleting the fund.
Funny you should bring that up because that was actually one of the topics touched on last night at the VP debate.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is Obamacare and pre-existing conditions. The Affordable Care Act. I know. I know. Take a breath. It's important we get over this hump. But it was
We're gonna
about
blast through this fucking hump.
Right. So it was about the mandate, right? Do you remember when the government said, if you don't have insurance, then you're going to be fined?
Remember it, I was a victim of it.
Yes, exactly. So during the VP debate, it was brought up that Trump wants to get rid of the ACA, right? He was going to get rid of the ACA. And Vance is like, but he didn't. We actually made it to where it was better.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're saying, if I hear you correctly, is that you want to bring back mandatory insurance. And Waltz said, yeah, basically.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's talk about that because he talked about, just to kind of
let's talk about the affordable health care.
So they talked about the ACA and the fact that like healthy people weren't getting insurance because they didn't need it. But people who need insurance were being denied, those with chronic health conditions, right? And Waltz is like, it's important to balance. We have to have enough new people who don't need insurance paying into the fund so that it pays.
No.
There we go.
Fucking no.
I'm just going to let them loose. Go
fucking no. Okay? I didn't have insurance because I never went to the doctor. You know, why am I going to bet? I'm betting you I'm going to get sick and I'm doubling down every month.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. I wasn't doing it. I was just paying my bullshit little medical bills out of pocket because I didn't get sick. Then comes the Affordable Health Care Act.
Yep.
Now I have to pay to still not have insurance,
right?
So somebody else can have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is absolutely ludicrous. And every year it went up. It went up. It went up. It went up. It went up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, so I'm paying the government, so I should have government health insurance, right?
Right.
Wrong. Yep. So fucking wrong. Mm-hmm. No, I still have to pay the government to have insurance on top of the money I'm paying the government to not have insurance.
Yeah.
Explain to me how that's fucking right.
Yep.
You can't.
No.
You can't fucking do it.
Mm-mm.
I'm not paying for fucking Shanika's fucking goddamn health care.
Right.
Yeah. Because, you know, for whatever fucking reason, I'm not going to get into all of that.
Yeah.
But
what's your counter to, okay, for a balanced system to work, right? In order to have the funds to insure or to assist the ones with, chronic health problems. And like my grandmother, right? My grandmother has cancer.
Mm-hmm.
She lived a healthy lifestyle. She didn't smoke. She didn't do any of that stuff. So, like, it's easy to look at, like, for example, someone who's extremely overweight and they get diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to look at them and go, it's your fault. But when you have a lady like my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother, like, she didn't do any of that. She didn't smoke. She didn't overeat.
Well,
She didn't do this. She didn't do that.
Here's the fucking thing is we already had Medicaid. We already had Medicare.
Okay. Are you in favor of Medicare for all?
Are you talking like universal health care?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what I'm not in favor of.
Okay.
I'm not in favor of politicians having their hand in the fucking insurance companies' pockets.
Right.
Which is what we're seeing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, first of all, full-time employees, a company has to provide health insurance.
Yeah. Doesn't mean it has to be affordable.
Has to.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've got what we call consumer-driven health insurance.
Yeah. Also known as high deductible healthcare plans.
Yeah. Also known as garbage.
Trash.
Fucking
Absolute trash.
Trash.
Yep.
People used to talk shit about HMOs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I fucking
remember
miss
that.
HMOs,
Right?
man.
HMOs nowadays would be amazing. I want to play you a clip real quick because I think you're going to find this fascinating
and probably infuriating.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It may make you angry. It might make you chuckle. I'm not sure, but it's from the debate last night. It's not very long, so let's. All right.
Senator, thank you. Governor, you previously opposed an assault weapons ban, but it only later in your political career did you change your position. Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those Sandy Hook parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it. Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach gun safety. I'm of an age where my shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice. That's not where we live today.
Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yes, he did say that.
All right. So yeah, and I'm sure he misspoke.
Okay.
I'm sure he misspoke. But
but I want to say this for all you guys out there that are like, oh, you know what he meant. And before you even get started on that little tantrum, remember the press will take any little clip of Donald Trump out of context as much as possible and play it over and over and over. So
yeah.
Y'all lost the high ground a long time ago.
Right. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
So you don't get to.
Yeah, you don't get to play that now.
Yeah, you don't get to play that card. Yeah. Sorry.
But that was just one of the highlights. Like, I don't know if you saw that, but every time I turned around, he had this wild look in his eyes, like he was panicking.
Mm-hmm.
Waltz. I mean, and Vance, I was not a huge fan of him for VP when Trump announced him. I thought that there were better options. But I thought he was super strong at that debate last night. And let me show you one more because this I found very interesting. So one of the rules for the debate last night was that the moderators would not fact check anyone. They would just allow the debate to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wasn't very long before they broke their own rules.
Right.
And
what a surprise.
Right. Shocking, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me play this clip for you again, really, really quick. It's like a minute and a half. Let's get it back up here. All right.
To clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well,
Nora?
Margaret, but
Thank you, Senator. We have so much to get to.
Margaret,
Thank you,
I think it's
Nora.
important
We're
because
going to turn now to the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going to
we're-
fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank
our
you,
own
Senator, for
leadership.
describing the legal
And
process.
Kamala-
We have
Kamala
so much
Harris
to get
opened up
to,
that
Senator.
pathway.
Wait.
Those
We have
laws
so
have been on
much-
the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
We
CBP
wanna have-
One app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
Oh,
Gentlemen,
they shut his mic off.
Yep.
the audience.
Yep. They cut his mic off. Yes, they did, because he was explaining the facts. The facts are that this app was not even set up to do what they're using it for now.
Right.
While
And it
these-
certainly
while
wasn't
this-
in effect since 1990
Right, while
because there
these-
were no apps in 1990. Get
Right.
the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. What a goddamn. All we're missing is fucking guys on stilts and elephant ears. This is a fucking circus.
It is. It is.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. And
I think it's important to add some context here for myself.
Okay.
You know, I don't know anything about Vance.
okay.
I'm not a fan of him.
Mhm.
I'm not against him. I'm nothing.
Right.
I don't know that much about Tim Walz.
Right.
Other than what I've seen, the facts that were presented to me,
Mm-hmm.
which mostly revolve around his military service, and we've talked about
We've talked
that.
about that. Yep.
And that's as far as I'm going to go on that.
Right.
As far as anything else, I haven't even talked to my dad about how he was as a governor.
Right.
Because my dad lives in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has lots to say
Lots to
about it.
say. Yeah, I'd love to get his. I'd love to
I'm
get
not
his
sure which
take.
way he swings on it, but maybe a little, maybe he's
Yeah.
like right down the middle.
Well, I will say one of the interesting takeaways, the notables from the evening, was they actually asked him. So Waltz had claimed that he was actually in China during the Tiananmen Square deal, protest, massacre, whatever actually happened over there. But they said, well, actually, you were there a couple months later. Would you like to address that?
Mm-hmm.
So he dodges around it for his entire 2 minutes that he's
Yeah.
given.
Does the Democrat dance?
Yep, they did. They go back and forth, right? Vance is like, says something, and then they go back to him, to Waltz, and say, would you like to address this? This was the question. And he's like, well, I it was around that time. I misspoke. And yeah, the clip
There's
itself,
an awful lot of fucking
he misspeaks a lot, dude.
yeah.
Like a lot.
He seems like that guy who has done every. We both know that
I know
guy
exactly who you're talking about.
who has done everything, and it's like,
Yeah. No matter what story you have.
yeah. And you look at the time frame, and it's like, there's no fucking way. There was no way that you became an SAE certified mechanic
Right.
in Wyoming at the same time that you were a fucking Marine sniper
Right.
and got a contract on your head by 4 different countries.
Right. Yeah. This guy that we knew, he was constantly coming up with fantastical stories. It didn't matter what you did, he would have a story
Mhm.
that topped it.
Oh, yeah.
Like every time.
Yeah, every single time.
So anyway, I wanted to show you that the ACA discussion is a bit longer, and it's well worth looking at, in my opinion. But the point from it is, how do we mandate something that the Supreme Court has found
Well,
unconstitutional.
First of all, you don't mandate anything.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we the fucking people.
Right.
All right. You know, they work for us. We don't work for them.
Yeah, and far too many of them forget that shit.
Yeah, all of them do.
All of them forget it eventually. Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, you don't mandate anything.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have a fucking you want to make sure everybody's got decent health care. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like everything else, you're going about all wrong.
Okay.
Like I said, first of all, you get your fucking hands out of the fucking insurance company's pockets.
Right. Yeah, that's become like even worse lately
Mm-hmm.
with I don't know if you're seeing like not just insurance companies but drug makers,
Yeah.
right? Big pharma. Dude, the sheer amount of money that they give
Let's not even get started on big
is
pharma.
insane, right?
That's fucking ridiculous. But
I'm-
you look at like you'll notice like an inordinate amount of doctors these days aren't originally from this country.
Right.
They fucking get their goddamn medical degrees or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yep.
And then they come here
Mhm.
because
Why?
we pay so much money to doctors.
Yep.
You know,
'Cause they
because
can
they
make
can
way
bill
more here.
any way they want.
Yep. Because they can make way,
Especially
way more.
when they find out, oh, there's a company footing the bill for this.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm. There have been a bunch of doctors and other people, but doctors that have been brought up on various fraud charges,
Mhm.
Medicare fraud, Medicaid fraud,
you know,
all these things.
and that's where HMOs kind of fucking slid to the
Mhm.
wayside because the HMOs. I don't know if you know how HMOs work, and I'm
little bit.
oversimplifying.
Yeah,
here.
oversimplify for the audience.
Is in an HMO doctor didn't get paid by the procedure, by this or that. They
Okay.
got paid a flat rate.
A flat fee, right?
Yeah, it was like an hourly. It's basically like being an hourly employee.
Yeah.
So, and that's where HMOs kind of got the bad rap because these doctors weren't getting paid like doctors who had their own practices.
Yeah.
Doctors that were, billing, insurance companies or, people
Right. Directly. Yeah.
directly. So the level of care that you were receiving was meh
Yeah.
because,
Started to decline.
yeah, because it was all the same to them.
Right.
Because, if I can't bill you
Mm-hmm.
for this expensive procedure, why would I give you this expensive procedure? Why would I spend a lot of time
Mhm.
on this? Because it all pays the same.
Right.
And that's a systematic problem throughout the country, in my opinion,
Mhm.
is I hear it so often. Well, I get paid the same no matter what.
Yeah.
Never
I hear
thinking
that
of the
all
bigger
time.
picture.
No, of course not. So let me ask you this. You haven't worked like 1,000 jobs or anything. But you, especially in your younger years, you, like I, changed jobs a few times,
Mhm.
trying to figure out what you really wanted to do.
Right.
What's your opinion of, I guess, like worker part ownership of the company? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like not exactly a co-op, but where you have some sort of investment where the
Right.
workers, are actually invested
Wrong way. All right.
in the company itself.
You know what? I don't know a whole lot about the ins and outs of that.
Okay.
Um,
Have you ever had that where you were like either stock options or
I personally have not.
okay.
I do know people in the job I'm in now, before, we were bought and sold and bought and sold and bought and sold.
Yeah.
That would actually had shares of stock in our company.
Okay.
And they would kind of, play the market.
Right. Did they seem more invested in the success of the company than those who were just collecting an hourly paycheck?
No.
Okay.
But to be fair, it wasn't like, okay, we're going to give you stock options.
Mhm.
We're going to give you this. They bought those
Okay.
shares.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I will say they were very interested in the goings on of the company.
Okay.
They were very interested in what the company was doing and the decisions that
not
the
a bad
company
thing.
was making.
Right. That's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, and they would, but by and large, I think today's worker is not going to concern themselves with that. It's real easy to make those snap judgments
Right.
about a company.
Yeah. But you know what? I actually want to talk about like today's workers, right? So,
Okay.
No, really. So they get a bad rap, right? Because, they don't care about this, they don't care about that, right? They just, collect a paycheck, blah, 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 blah. But companies, like, they don't care about the employee anymore. There are no pensions. Like, there are a handful left, right? But majority,
few and far between.
Exactly. Very few and far between. The majority of companies offer some sort of 401k or something of that nature. But as far as an actual pension, those don't exist anymore. People are like, well, workers don't have any loyalty. Neither do companies anymore.
Very true.
So why should a worker go out of their way? I saw a video the other day about various generations and how they respond to overtime, especially unpaid overtime, right? Company wants to come to you and say, hey, can you work? But it's unpaid. And the various, but like there was a time where like our grandparents would gladly put in an extra couple hours at the office if it helped the overall workflow, if it helped the company. Now, I don't know of anyone who would willingly do that unless they're invested in the success of the company in some form or another.
And okay, so once again, this is very easy to make a snap judgment about, which a lot of people do. And it's really a little more complicated than that.
Okay.
It goes both ways. You're right. The company doesn't give a shit.
No.
The employees don't give a shit. So when you put those two factors together, what do you think is going to happen?
A shitty product.
You're going to get a shitty product.
Yep.
And we live in such a disposable fucking temporary society that somehow that's okay.
Right. Right. Is anything, a genuine question here, is anything really made to last anymore?
No.
That it's all disposable now.
Yeah.
It's all
this
like
is called, what do they call that?
planned obsolescence.
Planned obsolescence. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And we're a society of it.
Right.
Like we really are.
Well, because like companies are about making profit. And if you have something that lasts a long time, you're not going to buy a new one.
Right. You're not going to replace
because the old
it.
one's just fine. Unless you get into that fever pitch, looking at you, iPhone people.
Right.
FOMO.
Fear of missing out.
Oh my God, dude. Like, is there any difference between the new iPhone and 2 generations?
No. What they've purposefully done is they've purposefully held back upgrades, right? To release them incrementally over multiple generations.
Have you seen, I watched a video, maybe I watched it with you, where they're like, hey, try the new iPhone, give us your old one, we'll port all your stuff over to this new one, and we'll let you check out the new one.
Right.
And so they're like, there's a guy behind them with a little desk and little fucking iPhones and shit. And there's a person interviewing them. And so they give the phone to the guy behind him and they're talking to the person. And the guy behind him just wipes their screen off, puts a case on it, and hands them the phone bag, say, here's the new iPhone. Tell us what you think. And they're like, oh, man, this is so much more responsive. It's so much faster.
Wow, really? No, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen it? Oh, man, you should check it out.
Okay.
It's very telling.
Do you know who did
I
it? Or?
don't. I don't know who did. I just stumbled across it.
If you find it again, send it to me.
Yeah, but it was.
It does not surprise me.
Yeah, it was very telling. Where they're like, they were wowed by using their
own phone,
with a new case, and a clean screen.
And a clean screen. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, this goes so much faster, and
more responsive, and yeah.
Oh, man, the
clarity.
picture, the clarity is so much better.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because people shit on Android, iPhone users shit on Android, whereas Samsung phones have had features for 5, 6, 7 years that iPhones just now have.
Yeah, if they have it.
If they even have it.
Mhm.
The one thing that for a long time was the big like telltale difference between iPhone and Android was not Snapchat, the QuickTime. Is that it? What's the fucking video call? FaceTime. That's it. I'm an Android user, so I don't know. But they came out with a version of that for Android, and like my one kid, he got himself an iPhone. He liked it.
Right. And I'm not dissing on anybody who likes what they like.
Right.
If you like iPhone, cool.
Yeah.
I can't use them. I've used Android too long.
Right.
It's confusing.
Yeah.
It's
I tried. Yeah.
not very
I tried to
intuitive
bring
to
something
me.
up on my kid's iPhone. I'm like, how the fuck? How does this? Where's the home button?
Right.
No fucking home button. I can't
iPhone,
figure it out.
for the longest time, iPhone had everything proprietary.
Yeah.
You know, you had to use their charger. You had to use their little adapter if you wanted to plug in earbuds.
Yep.
It was just ridiculous.
It was.
And you're right. They're just now coming up with stuff that the Android phones have had for years.
Years and years. Yeah.
It's like, oh, look, you can do this now. Yeah, we could do that for fucking years.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, boys.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that in 2017.
Yeah. But like, and Samsung's guilty of this to a degree as well.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong.
Like, because I've shopped for phones, and it's like, you know, I want a new phone. And I look at the latest model. I look at the model before it. I'm still like 5 fucking models behind.
Yeah, you're a ways back.
And when I look at the newer phones, unless I want to spend, you know, $3,000 fucking dollars or whatever,
insane, dude.
I'm not getting.
You're not getting the commensurate upgrade for the price.
No.
Not
I mean,
even
the
close.
processor's marginally better.
Yeah.
The camera's marginally better.
Yeah.
Maybe it's got a little more memory, but for the most part, it's exactly the fucking same. It does the same shit that my old phone does.
Right.
You know, my old lady's still using a fucking S9. She's using my old S9.
Right.
You know, that's about due for a fucking upgrade because the fucking home screen images are burned on the screen. But, you know, I've had that phone for, 5 fucking years.
Yeah. Yeah. You got it. I want to say when the they were just going to the next gen, which was the S20.
Right.
I think. They skipped, 11 gens, but, I want to say you got it then. So you've had it for a while. They're on what, the S24 now or something? So you're like 5
I think they
gens.
just passed the S24. I think
Yeah.
they just came out with a new one.
Probably.
But, at any rate,
yeah.
I'm still on the S20 and it still does the same. It does everything I want it to do.
Right. The only, I would say phones would last a hell of a lot longer if it wasn't for, like, they intentionally released software updates that slow your phone down.
Right.
The older it gets. Yeah. Because you got to have a way to go get a new phone. They got to have a reason.
Right. And the funny thing is, if you do a factory reset on those phones,
they're fine.
They're fucking amazing.
Yep.
For a while.
Yep. Until those updates start to chug it down again. Now, I have heard that there are ways to get around that.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Yeah. I don't know. I have some tech savvy viewers who maybe can tell me. I'd love to.
It's just like, remember back in the day where, they had battery compartments.
Oh, yeah.
And you could change, when your battery went bad, you could put a new one in.
Yeah, take that battery out.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone. Yeah. All of it. Planned obsolescence, like we said. Yeah. So today I got a lot of work to do. I got to go through these videos and whatnot. But it was interesting to me because they brought up Springfield last night during the debate.
Well, it's a hot topic right now.
Yeah, it's a hot topic. And I would say one of the most fundamental things that is interesting to me. The camera's really bothering you, isn't it?
It is. It's fucking bothering the shit out of me. I'm going to
You just can't
I
seem to get
can't
it.
find the fucking sweet
Okay,
spot.
do you want me to fix it for you?
No.
Okay,
We'll
I'm just
we'll
gonna
get
leave
through
it the
this,
fuck
and
alone.
I'll just fucking buy you a new camera or something.
Yeah. So one of the interesting things to me
Hmm.
is, okay, so we know about all these hurricanes and the flooding in
I was
North Carolina, right?
Just about to get to that.
Yeah.
Just about to get to that.
So we are still sending billions of dollars overseas.
Mhm.
And the federal government has the fucking nerve to look at the camera of a reporter who asks, is there more planned for the victims of this hurricane?
Mm-hmm.
And the so-called resident in chief decides we've given all we can give. I'm sorry. American citizens should come before these foreign fucking countries and these foreign fucking
and they're
people.
asking people to donate like bottles of water and shit to go
Right.
down there. It's like, where is the money? Where's the government money?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
we're
We got
fucking
billions to
we're-
send
we're-
elsewhere.
We got billions to fucking give to people who come here.
Right. Mhm. And that right there, even if, like I've said on the show before, even if you're in favor of unchecked migration, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me put it to you another way. Okay. Let's say you're one of those people who believes very strongly that we should welcome all. Okay. Imagine wherever you shop, whether it's Walmart, Al's, whatever your particular grocery store is, you go in there and there are lots of new faces. Okay. Lots of new faces that don't speak fucking English. So you cannot communicate with them. Oh, you can still communicate with people if you don't speak the same language. Sure you can. With hand gestures and other means.
Yeah, they got that new fucking flip phone that fucking has the two-way translate.
Right.
You've seen the commercials for that.
Uh-huh.
Why do we
Yeah.
need that?
Right. Right. So these people, that not only do they not speak the language, they're not familiar with the culture.
Mm-hmm.
So they decide that they want to spend time with you. Alone time with you. How do you, are you okay with that? Like, realistically, we're swarmed because there are countless people now that you don't recognize that, and I'm not saying these people have bad intentions. The vast majority of them are good people. However, what percentage is too much? What percentage is dangerous? 1%, 10%, 30%? We know that a large portion of the people that are being shuffled in via the app and via the southern border have a criminal record from where they come from.
We have a surplus of pieces of shit in this country.
Yeah.
We don't need to import them.
That's a fair point. That is a very fair point.
And that's not, I'm not saying every fucking
course
migrant that comes in is a piece of shit.
Because they're not.
But some of them are.
Some of them are.
And any is too much.
Agree. There it is. Yep. Nailed it. And so we have no money to spend on the victims of hurricanes who are homeless. There are towns completely cut off that can only be reached via air. And the government is telling people who are doing their own paid missions, right, to rescue people and deliver supplies, that they can't do so. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah. Yeah. Citing some fucking old law or something. I don't know the full story. I just saw that and went, of course.
It's kind of like EA.
Okay.
Well, we're not going to support this game, but you can't use it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's like the whole Battlefield.
Yeah.
What was it?
2142.
2142, the original server.
We're so glad that you have such a love for our game that we don't fucking let anybody use anymore. But if you try to use it on your own, we're going to sue the fuck out of you. This is just ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're absolutely right. Where's the fucking money? Where's the government aid? Where's the help?
Right. Where is it?
Yeah,
I'm
we've
sorry.
got brand new fucking tanks for some fucking reason,
Right.
but we can't help the people in our country.
Nope.
Hey,
Nope.
we're fucking supporting Ukraine. That's great. What about the people in our country?
Right.
Israel. Fucking Israel doesn't need our help.
Mhm.
Israel is kicking ass and taking names for years.
Okay, so here's interesting, right? And it has to do with Israel. Did you know that various National Guard members are being mobilized to the Middle East?
Yep. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, National Guard members.
But not Walls. I'm sorry, I had to take that shot.
Nice.
Yeah, you're gonna pitch him slow. I got to fucking
Right?
swing at him.
Yep. How could you not? I mean, yeah. So interestingly enough, these are the same National Guard members from states like North Carolina and Tennessee that would be really fucking useful helping with the hurricane damage. Right.
That's an interesting quinky-dink, isn't it?
It is.
That is a very interesting quinky-dink.
Yes, it is.
Are we putting on our tinfoil hats here? Is this
You know what?
fucking-
Yeah. So put our tinfoil hats on for a moment.
Mhm.
Wish I really got to get one for times like this,
Right.
for this segment. Yeah, let's don the conspiracy theory hats for a moment.
Our aluminum foil.
Foil. I love that song. So I have read
Mhm.
that the United States has had access to weather modifying technology for many, many years now.
Yeah.
It's known as HARP.
Mhm.
HAARP, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if that's the case, and if they're able to modify storms, and if they did so, that certainly would be convenient given the area in which the
Mhm.
damage was done. Dude, I'm going to say this. All other bullshit aside, I have read some vile fucking comments online that all this like hurricane damage, well, it's a bunch of Trump voters, so fuck them. Basically the world will be better off once they're cold kind of thing. And
Right.
yeah,
That's what we've become.
that's exactly it. Yeah.
That is exactly what we've become. I mean, it's real easy to do.
Oh,
I mean, it's real easy to say, you know what? We should fucking just saw fucking California off, fucking let it float out to the fucking
right.
wherever.
Wherever.
Yeah, let it be a part of fucking Asia.
Right. Wall that fucker off.
You know, it's real easy to say that.
Right.
And that's that polarization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't care what your politics are when there's an emergency, a disaster, right?
Mhm.
I don't care what your politics are. I don't care how you voted in the last election.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. The federal government is supposed to be there for times like this.
Mhm.
And if they're
Well,
not, then why the fuck are we funding these
Yeah,
people?
let's walk that back for a second. Do we need the federal government to step in and take care of us?
No.
Not really. But you can't have it both ways.
That's it exactly.
You
That's
can't
it
fucking
exactly.
have it both ways. You can't have your hand in our fucking pockets, and you can't tell us what to do on a fucking daily basis. You can't fucking micromanage every fucking aspect of our life.
Right.
And then when the chips are down, it's time for you to do something.
Yeah.
Where the fuck did you go?
Right. That's exactly it. If you want these fucking crippling taxes, these crippling regulations, this over government, overburden managing style, right? This swelled fucking government to hundreds of times the size any of the founding fathers would have ever wanted.
Yeah.
If you want all that, then you better be ready to kick the fuck in when you need to, which is now.
Yeah.
East Palestine, Ohio, Palestine, however the fuck you say it. East Palestine, Springfield, fucking Hawaii with the fires, the hurricane now. Dude, the federal government hasn't done a fucking thing for these people. Not a fucking thing. Why are we funding foreign wars when we're not helping our people here? The whole thing's corrupt, dude. It's fucking corrupt to the core.
Oh yeah. It is fucking rotten as shit.
Oh yeah. So what do we do?
What do you do with rotten fruit?
Yeah. Throw it the fuck away.
Throw it the fuck away.
Yeah.
And get out of the fucking house because it fucking stinks.
Right. Right. So one of the I think best takeaways from last night, in my opinion, was JD Vance reminding everyone that Harris has been the VP for the last 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these so-called new ideas, right? She's perfectly capable of implementing them and has been, but hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So why? You can't take credit for the so-called success of Bidenomics and then distance yourself from it when the negatives are brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we both feel the same way about this so-called Bidenomic quote success.
Yeah, where's that?
Right.
Oh, that's right. Overseas.
Yeah. So here's an interesting little takeaway also from last night. So JD Vance had basically stated that migrants make housing costs go up.
Uh-huh.
When you shove a bunch of new people into an area, housing costs rise. And the moderators attempted to push back on that.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong,
Okay.
but I don't believe that migrants are the crux of the housing problem.
Okay. I don't think they're the only contributing factor.
We had a housing problem. Well, they kind of fucking have run parallel to each other.
Yeah, interesting.
However, when you've got giant holding companies buying up every fucking property.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's a contributing factor. Now, Waltz, that's his entire fucking argument, that it's all the holding companies, it's Wall Street this, and these real estate companies that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Investors. It's all investors' fault. Whereas Vance agreed, it's more nuanced. There are multiple contributing factors, but
Mm-hmm.
dumping 25,000 fucking people into a city of 55,000
with no plan
and no additional fucking housing
Mm-hmm.
is going to cause prices to rise.
And just fucking throwing money at it.
Right.
Oh, well, that kind of runs along the same lines of, we need to raise the minimum wage.
Mhm.
People need to make more money.
Right.
Well, that sounds real good.
It does.
That's a real nice little blurb.
Mhm.
Makes a real nice little fucking short on your reel. However, that doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
It's the same as printing money.
Yeah.
You can't just throw money at shit.
Yeah.
Because everything is a fucking, there's an ecosystem in the economy.
Yeah.
The more
There's
companies
balance.
have to pay, the more companies have to charge.
Right. Well, we see it in California. So they raised the minimum wage to like $20 an hour, except Gavin Newsom stuff. His buddy owns like Panera Bread, and Panera Bread was exempt from the minimum wage hike,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, because they serve bread.
Hey,
Yeah, it's it's some weird fucking loophole that Newsom created because his buddy has Panera Bread, so they created this specific loophole.
if I was a company in California,
Mhm.
regardless of what I did,
Yeah.
I would invest a little bit of money
Mhm.
and make bread.
That's what a lot of companies are doing.
Yeah.
And anyway, the point is they jacked the minimum wage up, right? And tons and tons of these companies started either highly limiting the hours that each person works or outright laying people off
Or moving out of
or
California.
moving out of California. Many of them have done that as well. The media obviously likes to attack Elon Musk, who has recently moved even more of his company's assets out of the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, man. The whole thing is a gigantic house of cards that will crumble.
Yeah, that are on fire.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time. So, okay, let's talk just a minute briefly about the plan, right? The plan for bringing the country back from what it's become. Assume for a moment that Trump wins the election. Okay. The big claim, because they asked, well, what can be done immediately to help consumers, right?
Okay, well, I can answer this real quick.
Okay.
What happens if Trump gets into office?
Yep.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
Okay.
Nothing.
Okay.
4 years of nothing. Just like the first time,
Okay.
he's going to be entrenched against fucking Congress.
Okay. So you think that the entirety of Congress is going to continue to work against him like they did the last time?
Just like they did before.
Okay.
And I don't care who controls the fucking Congress.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Fucking, like I said, left wing, right wing, same fucking vulture.
Right. Right. But let me ask you this. Is it better than the alternative?
That's a simple question with a very complicated answer.
Okay.
All right. So
Because in my opinion-
is 4 years of nothing better than? I mean, the simple answer is yeah, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, I
because the
guess.
less they actually fucking do, the less ridiculous legislation gets
But
enacted.
once again,
bullshit.
we're putting a band-aid on a bullet wound.
Sure.
You know, even if we stall, that's because that's the best we can hope for at this point, in my
Mhm.
opinion, is to stall for 4 years.
Okay.
And it's 4 years of, them fucking building another case of,
More
look,
bullshit
he didn't accomplish
impeachment.
anything and he screwed this up and this and that and the other.
Right.
Or we end up in a world war.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you think? Okay, so let me ask this. We'll wrap it up after. So this whole thing with Israel, right? Israel and Iran, I guess, are straight up at war now. At least according to Netanyahu, because he said basically Iran attacked Israel, so we're at war. We're definitely going to get drug into that shit.
yeah, there's no way out of it.
There's no way out of it. So, what do you foresee as the long term? Like, do you think this is the beginning of World War III, or do you think it's going to be a limited conflict without dragging other members in?
Well,
Other members being like NATO, and we have all these fucking pacts, right?
NATO has to get involved,
Okay.
which means,
Is Israel a NATO country?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, they're a NATO country.
Yeah.
We are contractually obligated to help them.
Mhm.
And let's be realistic. We're essentially NATO.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
We pay the lion's share of all of NATO funding, which is bullshit.
Agreed. Actually, no, according to this, Israel being located is outside the geographical scope of the NATO alliance. While it has had close security cooperation with the U.S. and other Western countries, Israel has not sought formal membership in defense alliances like NATO.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't either. However,
No, I stand corrected.
it doesn't matter though.
Because
the
we got a
US
fucking-
has a mutual defense pact with Israel
Right.
outside the scope of NATO. And if the US gets attacked, since we're gonna be getting involved in this shit.
Mhm. Well, that's where I disagree. I don't believe the U.S. is going to get attacked.
Okay.
Not the country.
Right. The US mainland will not get
Right.
attacked.
Will our forces suffer casualties? Absolutely, because we're there.
We're there.
If
right.
you're there, you're a fucking combatant.
Mhm.
That's the thing that everybody seems to miss.
Mhm.
Is when that area has been so embroiled in
Yes,
conflict for
yes.
so long. If you go there
Mhm.
for any fucking reason,
Mhm.
you get what you get.
You're gonna get like you said, the entire, and that's the thing, right? A lot of people try to distill down, and I talked about this when we did when we talked about when Putin was on Tucker Carlson when we
Mhm.
did the live, right? The history of that region goes back tens of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like the U.S., our shit only goes back a couple hundred years.
Mm-hmm.
These places have feuds that go back like longer than our country has been alive.
Right.
And people forget that, just like the Ukraine Russia thing, right?
Mhm.
And I'm not like I got no skin in the game there, whatever. Other than I don't want to keep sending my fucking money there.
Mm-hmm.
But Ukraine Russia was one country before Russia ever became a country.
Yeah.
That was all one region.
Do we need to make this a two-part?
We
Because
probably
like,
would.
yeah,
Yeah.
fucking, because like, I got stuff to say about Ukraine and Russia,
Yeah.
and yeah, 'Cause, in the beginning, I was absolutely for helping out Ukraine
Okay.
because Russia was trying to fucking
Yeah, Russia's the aggressor.
essentially reforming the Soviet Union.
Yeah, that's what we were told.
I mean, and that's how it looked.
Okay.
By all fucking,
Okay.
it all looked very familiar.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Let's give him a hand.
Okay.
Cool. It's number one, it's gotten out of control.
Oh yeah.
Number two, it's no longer Ukraine defending its borders against Russia, against evil Russia.
Right.
They're invading Russia.
Yep. So
You
hold
can
on.
fucking paint any picture you want on that. When you put troops in their fucking territory,
Mhm. So, devil's advocate for a moment. Okay.
mhm,
If Russia attacks Ukraine, okay, and they have crossed over, then Russia has invaded Ukraine.
right.
Doesn't Ukraine then have the right to do military operations on the other side of this border?
How you figure, sports fan?
Well, if in a defensive situation, right?
All right. Let me cut you off for a second. Okay.
All right.
Because here's to me, the big distinction.
Okay.
You haven't pushed them back.
Okay.
Okay. If you pushed them back and you kept going, yeah, okay. Well, I guess we can make some arguments.
Okay.
You've not pushed them back. You've still got Russia in your country,
Right.
and you're just going into Russia. Not like a few kilometers in, a
Mhm.
few miles in.
Right.
No, you're fucking hundreds of miles into fucking Russia.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then we're like, yeah, you could totally fucking bomb the shit out of Russia. Yeah, you could send fucking missiles. Here, have missiles.
Right.
Here, have some missiles. Send them to Russia.
Yeah.
What are we doing right now? What are they doing right now? What's
don't-
everybody fucking doing?
I believe they're trying to start World War III. I truly believe that. The powers that be,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And the funny thing is, like, we keep, we're going to help Ukraine. We're going to do this. We stop short
Mhm.
at sending people.
Right.
We're not going to send nobody. We're not going to give you any fucking actual military aid.
Right.
But we'll be more than happy to,
Just-
give you some fucking munitions on credit,
Mhm. Yeah.
because
Right.
they're going to pay for that one day.
Well, so here's my question, right? And let's see if you know the answer to this, because I don't. How much of what we have sent to Ukraine was just given, and how much is a loan? Do you have any idea?
We don't ever give anybody anything.
Are you sure about that?
Now, you can fucking say we fucking gave it to them. They're going to pay it back somehow. You can look at the paper and whatever. But at the very least, Ukraine owes us a favor.
So 5 days ago, we have provided here. Let me show you this. To date, we have provided more than $61.3 billion in military assistance since Russia launched its
Mm-hmm.
premeditated, unprovoked, and brutal full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and approximately $64.1 billion in military assistance since Russia's initial invasion of Ukraine in 2014.
Yeah, that's not a gift.
Yeah.
That is not a gift at all. That is an investment.
But investing in what?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. So anyway, you were saying you initially started off on the side of Ukraine,
Yeah, I
or at
started off
least
on
in
the,
full support of.
I'm like, okay, we need to fucking, because
Right.
we've seen this shit happen before.
Okay.
It happened with the Soviet Union, it happened with Germany.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
it makes sense. They're their own fucking country. They should stay their own fucking country.
Okay. What changed?
We kind of got a horse in this race.
So what changed and when?
Well, what changed was, number one, we never committed.
Okay.
We just fucking shadow war.
Okay.
We're doing a fucking shadow war. This is Cold War shit all over again.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we're doing this fucking proxy war.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're encouraging the Ukraine to invade Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Take the fight to them.
Yeah.
I feel like you've crossed the line now.
Okay.
You're not the victims. You're not the fucking poor, defenders trying to just, defend your homeland.
Yeah.
You're on foreign soil.
Okay. Okay. So at this point, are they the invaders / aggressors?
Let's get rid of all of that.
Okay.
That stopped.
Yeah.
A while ago.
All
This
right.
is not like aggressors, defenders. This is just fucking.
It's just war.
Yeah, it's just two motherfuckers duking it out.
Right. Okay.
You got two fucking jocks that are just punching each other
Mhm.
at this point. Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. They're just fucking fighting.
Okay.
Just fighting to fight. Nobody has the fucking moral high ground at this point.
Right. Right.
And for us to keep supporting them,
Mm-hmm.
it is obvious we want something.
So I'm gonna give a couple of quick counterpoints, and then we're gonna call it. So first of all, playing devil's advocate, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the Ukraine situation, now as viewers to the show know, I don't want my fucking money going there. I've been against this since the beginning. However, if you're attacked, I don't know that any tactics are off limits as such, right? Geneva Convention aside. As far as like, okay, they're coming in over here, there's nothing wrong with a counter offensive over here into their territory to make them divert resources. That's all I'm saying. At the same time, we have our politicians signing fucking bombs and Zelensky in the background with the fucking weird, creepy, fucking proud daddy smile. But for years, Russia has made it very, very explicit. They do not want Ukraine in NATO.
Mm-hmm.
It's on their border. It's like it's a line in the sand, such as it was, right? What did we do? We pushed and pushed and pushed. I'm not saying Russia's right for what they're doing. I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't fucking live there.
Right.
That's on them.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, we cannot be shocked and fucking surprised when Russia goes, I said no. We got to do this.
Mm-hmm.
They warned over and over.
Well,
Just saying.
and here's where it gets complicated.
Yeah.
Because that's not what it was originally.
Mm-hmm.
It was, well, we've got regions in there that want their independence, and we're going to help them out.
Yeah, they wanted to become part of Russia because they were ethnically Russian. It was all one. It's like if Texas decided to become its own country, right?
Yeah.
Texas is now its own country, and a lot of the people from Oklahoma were on vacation or whatever. That's a lot like what it is because they were one country for a long time. Even before like the fall of the Soviet Union, right? You had that period of the Soviet Union, but prior to World War II, prior to World War I, that was all one region.
Right.
It was the Russian Empire.
Yeah.
And it
was all
covered,
Russia. You had
it was
different
all
regions.
Russia.
It's like being states in the United States.
Exactly. It was all part of the one big fucking entity.
And this is where it starts. This is where it starts going down the rabbit hole for me. because, that starts, I don't understand why it's okay for us to go, well, Ukraine should be their own independent fucking sovereign state.
Uh-huh.
But we're the same country that when a bunch of our states decided they wanted to be their own sovereign state, whoa, hang on. A house divided can't stand.
Right.
Like, this isn't a house. We just want to build our own house.
Right.
And that was unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
like,
it's complicated.
It
The short answer is it's very complicated.
It is very complicated.
And
It's
these
supremely
talking heads-
complicated. And just looking at all of the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah.
Like I said, when this first fucking happened, I'm like, yeah, we should totally help out Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do their thing. Russia said, we don't want you to do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. And the news made it seem so simple.
Mm-hmm.
The news media, the mainstream media made it seem cut and dry. Very fucking simple. Russia invaded a sovereign country.
In the beginning, it was very simple. Russia came in, Ukraine went.
I would argue again, a lot more complicated than they made it sound.
There's always complications.
Yeah.
It's never as simple as it appears.
Because the
But
Donbass region and all of that.
As time has gone on,
Right.
it's become more and more convoluted, and the stuff that was in the beginning has all gone to the wayside.
Yeah.
It's no longer about what they said it was about.
No.
If it ever was, it's not now.
Yeah. And
you know what? The more I fucking see Zelensky, the more I want to punch him in the fucking face.
Yeah.
That dude is like, I'm waiting for him to fucking sell me snake oil.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In his casual pants and his fucking sweater, just fucking look, I'm a man of the fucking people.
Yeah.
I seem to recall an Austrian who said something very similar back in the day.
I mean, not wrong. You're not wrong. The guy stinks. Like he's very slimy. But
Yeah.
all right.
He's a fucking politician. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
Oh yeah. He exudes politician at this point. And he's an actor, So
you know what? Let
Mhm.
me throw a fucking bomb out
Throw a
here.
bomb
Let
out
me
there.
just open this fucking can of worms up.
Okay.
He exudes Obama energy.
He does. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, he just exudes Obama
Which is that
energy.
whole, snake oil salesman.
dude.
Fucking.
He's not on Obama's level.
No. Oh no.
But he's definitely
he's an apprentice. He's an apprentice.
Yeah.
Obama's the master. He's an apprentice.
Yeah, he's definitely
he
playing
just
out that
started the
playbook.
course. Yeah, he's just a second year, right?
Yeah.
Second or third year in the
Yeah, he hasn't made journeyman status
right,
yet, but for all you union people out
right
there.
there you go. All right, we'll wrap it up. We're at an hour and a half, but once we get going, tends to happen.
There's a lot of shit to say.
There is.
And
So
and keep in mind to your viewers that this is just my opinion.
that's all it is.
I don't always come from a place of fact. Sometimes I just come from the gut.
Right.
And
you
but
can do that. That's what America's about.
right. But one thing I've learned over the years is sometimes you got to trust your gut.
You have to trust your gut.
Regardless of what the so-called facts are that are presented.
Yeah.
Question everything.
That I agree with. Absolutely. Question everything. Look into the facts.
And if something feels wrong, it probably is.
It probably is. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I have learned to trust myself over the years, as far as my instincts go, as far as that smells wrong.
I'm gonna tell you, every time I haven't trusted my gut, it has gone badly.
It has gone poorly. Yes. I can absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. Every time I have said, it'll be fine, and gone against what my gut has told me, it has ended poorly. It has ended up causing some sort of problem.
Yeah.
So I would recommend trust yourself, trust your gut, and
and
That's it.
at the risk of sounding kind of weird considering the platform we're on. Get your head out of the phone once in a while and just look around.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, I don't doom scroll on social media anymore. I did for a while, man.
It's
like,
hard not to.
It is. I actually have a friend, right, who he was a longtime viewer of the show. Very, very helpful in my campaigns. And I talked to him not that long ago, and I actually talked about the Springfield trip, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't even know anything about it because I haven't been on social media." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, I unplugged, dude. I got myself one of those phones made by Eric Prince's company that comes, basically, it doesn't come with Google or any of that shit on it. I don't know what phone he's talking about, but apparently there's a phone. Anyway, he's like, I haven't been on social media. I completely unplugged. He said, I realized that I came home from work and I sat down in my chair and I looked up and my wife got home from work, which meant I had been fucking around on social media for like 2 hours, 3 hours, however long. He's like, I accomplished nothing that I wanted to. He's like, and then I caught myself laying in bed watching fucking TikTok videos. And he's like, you know what? He's like, for hours, instead of sleeping, I'm fucking watching these videos. So he completely deleted. He got himself a new phone with none of the fucking Google ad services, none of the Facebook, none of it. And he's like, and man, I'm getting so much done. I am, da 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 da. And I was like, that's interesting. Because it is wild how much of a time sink social media can be.
Well, and it is an exponential problem, but it's not a new problem.
Oh, right.
It's bad now, but this has been building up for decades.
Oh, yeah.
Before
absolutely.
social media, you had television. Before television, you had radio, you had newspapers. How often do you see, like in the movies and TV, the father's got his head buried in a fucking newspaper?
Yep. Be present. Be present for your family and your friends. I think that's like the best advice I can give. Like, one of the things that I realized, I did this years ago, is I would be involved on my phone, right? And a kid would come to me, one of my children would come to me and be like, hey, Dad, da 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 da. And I'd be like, yeah, in a minute. Right. And I caught myself doing it. I'm like, since when is whatever the fuck is on this phone more important than my child?
Right.
Holy shit. Boop. Be present.
You're gonna it's gonna fill your head with so much
garbage, dude.
That you're not gonna know which way is up. And I think that's where we as a society are at now.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree. It's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah, and we're all victims of it. We're all victims of it. It's all a matter of degrees.
Yeah.
We're all fucking dude right here.
Plugged in. Yep.
If you don't have a fucking flip phone,
then
you're a victim of it. If your phone does anything but make phone calls and texts.
God, you know what, dude? You know what's really funny? Just to kind of finish up here. We had a friend who went to buy a new phone at the advent of smartphones. And do you remember the diatribe he went on because the phone had a camera? Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
He was talking about, I don't want a fucking camera on my phone. I have a camera. I just want a phone. Does it make phone calls? That's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
This is the same guy, and it was probably one of the smartest things he ever said. And back in the advent of smartphones, he said, I don't want a smartphone. I don't want a smartphone. I don't want it.
Yep.
Why not?
Why not?
Why don't you want one? It does this, it does that. He's like, I know what it does. I know exactly what it does. That's all great. I don't want one. You know why I don't want one? Because once I get one, I'll need one.
Yeah.
And
I'm with you. It was
that
one of the
was
smartest
like
things he's ever said.
One of the fucking most profound fucking statements I had heard in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to you, buddy.
And it was like smartphones didn't do 1/10 of the shit that they do now.
Oh yeah. You could send emails. You could
they were not
message.
They weren't great.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't great.
No, they sucked at the beginning, but God almighty, we got addicted to them quick, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. No, on a positive note, before we wrap it up, you should be getting back to work soon.
Yes.
The way the doctor made it sound, right?
Yeah. There's definitely improvement. Right now, they're pretty sure the bone's healed. I think right now, what my physical therapist said is my hamstring is incredibly tight.
Okay.
And that's what's causing the pain.
Okay.
So
can they do like a massage or?
Well, he's got I'm doing exercises and stuff to try to stretch it out.
Okay.
And things like that. And, the exercises hurt, but I found the more that I do them,
the less they hurt.
No, they still hurt while I'm doing them, but it's the afterwards.
The afterward makes it feel better. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this doesn't feel nearly as weird as it
Right.
did now because everything's kind of stretched out.
Yeah.
But, that's just repetition at this point,
Right.
because it's like a rubber band.
Yeah.
You stretch it out, it wants to go back.
Okay.
You stretch it out, it wants to go back. Over time, it doesn't try to go back as much.
Right.
So
Just stretch it
I'm
back
just,
out.
I'm just
Yeah.
loosening the stuff up now.
Okay.
I mean, there's still, there's going to be scarring there for probably ever.
Do you think you're going to be able to ride before the end of this season?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. In general, maybe,
Okay.
but not like I was.
Yeah. no.
Certainly not a large bike.
Okay.
I'm going to try my Sportster
Mhm.
here in a couple weeks
Okay.
and see how that goes. And I'm going to have to work myself back up,
Right.
and basically work on my skills,
Yeah.
because
You've been off.
I've been off it for a while.
for a while. Yeah.
I'm rusty. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to have a fair amount of anxiety.
Sure. Which is
from it.
understandable. I mean, and it seems like the universe cannot stop trying to kill you.
Oh, dude.
I'm just going to put that out there. It seems
Uh-huh.
like you have narrowly dodged serious injury or death.
This
Several times.
This has been an interesting quarter for me.
When did you sign up for Final Destination reshoot?
I don't know, but it seems like ever since the accident,
Yeah.
it's just been this freaking whirlwind of unfortunate events
Yeah.
that I have narrowly escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
you
wild,
know,
man.
the best I can say is you missed me, bitch.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully, things go better for you the next week, and we'll see you guys again Wednesday morning. We'll try to be on time, but
Stuff happens.
Stuff happens. Yeah.
Don't start with me.
No, I know. I've had my share of it too. So, let's face it, most of you guys watch this after it's already, up. So you'll be all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys again real soon. Hopefully, guys, tune in later today, and I will at least have some videos that have been uploaded and worked on from the Springfield trip. There's a lot. I have hours and hours of footage that I have to go through. And
tomorrow might be a more realistic.
No, I should have something today, is my point. I should have a little bit at least to present. I'd like to at least get the breakfast meeting clip, but I have a series or a video that's upside down, and I have to figure out in my editor if I can just flip the screen or if it's more complicated. You would think so, but I don't know how to do it.
Right.
So I
don't
have
make
to learn
anything
something.
user friendly anymore.
No, there's a lot to it. All right, guys. We'll see you again real soon. God bless you. God bless Indiana. God bless the United States of America.
Amen.
Have a great day. Where'd it go? There it is.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.